Hey guys, what's up? And today I'm going to be talking about Florida losing to LSU. Now, I made a video on it that kind of recapped it a bit, but I'll be talking about how it's going to shake up the entire college football just landscape, the entire rankings, the entire committee. It's just going to ruin everything. And by ruin, I don't really mean ruin. It's going to make everything a lot better. But it has shaken up the entire CFP rankings. It has ruined all the thoughts that we had previously. So, yeah, let me talk about this. So, LSU upset Florida 37-34, and that has virtually eliminated Florida from college football playoff contention. Now, what this means is that this has opened up the number 4 spot a lot. We always thought Florida beats Alabama, they're in. We knew that, right? If Florida beats Alabama, I don't think they're in. I mean, Texas A&M loss isn't bad. They don't look like the number 5 team, but right now they technically are. Right now they're not a bad team. But that LSU win, that looks really bad right now. And loss. And it will look bad for the rest of the season. In LSU, team that is coming off the best season that pretty much a franchise, well, not a franchise, but a college can basically have, breaking a lot of records. And there's a chance that they end up 5-5 if they beat Ole Miss. But even that is just a disappointing season. They opened up the season with a loss to Mississippi State, beat Vandy, lost to Missouri, beat South Carolina, got destroyed by Auburn 48-11, barely beat Arkansas, lost to Texas A&M, lost to Alabama, and then beat Florida. This is not a good team. They're 3-5, not counting the Florida game. So this is a really bad loss for Florida. Horrible loss. But for Florida, this is their second loss because they lost in a just nail-biter to Texas A&M very early in this season. It was 41-38. And it was the last second field goal. That was actually when Texas A&M was number 21 and Florida was number 4 at that point. But yeah, Florida, if they won, they were in against Alabama. I don't think if they win, they're in anymore. Because then you have 2-loss Florida, 1-loss Alabama. That's going to happen if Notre Dame wins. 2-loss Clemson or 2-loss Florida. If Clemson wins, Clemson and Notre Dame are in over Florida. Then you have 1-loss Texas A&M, 1-loss, or probably undefeated Ohio State. So yeah, even if Ohio State loses. But that makes Florida's chances very low. I mean, what Florida needs to happen now is we'll see how they're ranked in the playoff rankings on Tuesday. That will be really interesting to see. I think that will give us a gauge of how the committee thinks of them now. But what it looks like is going to need to happen is they're going to need to beat Alabama. Notre Dame is going to have to beat Clemson. Ohio State is going to have to lose convincingly to Northwestern. Texas A&M is going to somehow have to lose. Iowa State is probably going to have to lose to Oklahoma. Then Cincinnati is going to have to lose to Tulsa. So that leaves Alabama, Notre Dame. I think a 2-loss Clemson probably makes it. And then, what you're debating, a 1-loss Ohio State, 2-loss Northwestern, or 1-loss Northwestern, 2-loss Texas A&M, 2-loss Oklahoma, 1-loss Cincinnati, 1-loss Indiana, and it would be absolute chaos if that scenario happens, but that won't happen. But what's most likely to happen now is Alabama wins, Clemson beats Notre Dame, Ohio State, so that doesn't change. But even if Florida wins, 1-loss Alabama is still in. Notre Dame, Clemson doesn't change a thing, and Ohio State, they're still in. Florida doesn't have a shot anymore. What it changes is if Notre Dame beats Clemson or Northwestern somehow upsets Ohio State, then this playoff just hunt for the 4 seed is going to get really interesting. You're going to have either one. Let's just go Notre Dame beats Clemson first. You're going to have Alabama, Notre Dame, and Ohio State in. You're going to have 2-loss Clemson, 1-loss Texas A&M, 2-loss Iowa State, and undefeated Cincinnati vying for that 4th spot. That's going to be really interesting to see. I don't think Cincinnati will make it, but you know that video I just made a few days ago got very low views, so if you would watch it, thank you. It was about Cincinnati and then potentially making the playoffs. But yeah, throw that out the window now, and it looks like they still have a very tiny chance, but they have a chance now, and they're going to move up to number 7, unless the playoff just wants to say, yeah, Group of 5 is never making it in. We're making that statement clear right now. It makes unreasonably Florida still over Cincinnati, or North Carolina somehow moves all the way up to beat Cincinnati, and Cincinnati should move to number 7. Iowa State should move to number 6. See, Iowa State's going to move to number 6, which would be absolutely insane. And what we're talking about, a team that lost to Louisiana Lafayette very early this season. This is a team that lost to Louisiana Lafayette, and now they're being considered for the playoffs. A 2-loss team. This makes the chances for a 2-loss team very high. And by 2-loss team, I mean 2-loss Clemson or 2-loss Iowa State, which would actually be really interesting. Who would make it if a 2-loss Clemson or 2-loss champion Iowa State or non-champion Clemson, who lost to Notre Dame twice, who would make it in? I legitimately don't think I know that question. But you'd say Clemson, but it would make sense for them not to. But it also makes sense for them too. But yeah, this loss for Florida, this is a devastating loss, not just for the season, but for this organization. Also, Kyle Trask pretty much being eliminated from winning the Heisman potentially. I don't think there's any shot now. It wouldn't make sense for him to. Give it to Mac or Devontae. Mac does have the best weapons, but still, he has been having a tremendous season. But yeah, LSU is just being Florida. And so for another situation, yeah, we have that situation that I was just talking about where it's 2-loss Clemson, 1-loss A&M, 2-loss Cincinnati, undefeated Cincinnati, and 2-loss Iowa State, undefeated Cincinnati. The other one is Clemson beats Notre Dame. Notre Dame and Clemson are in because Ohio State loses. So then you have 1-loss Ohio State, 1-loss Texas A&M, 2-loss Iowa State, and undefeated Cincinnati. Would be even more chaos. Ohio State loses, and Clemson loses. Then you have a 1-loss Ohio State, 2-loss Clemson, 1-loss Texas A&M, undefeated Cincinnati, 2-loss Iowa State. This playoff thing, while it could be where, and it most likely will be where Clemson beats Notre Dame and Ohio State beats Northwestern, and we know the top 4, where it's going to be the Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State. If one of those things don't happen, not Alabama, but if Notre Dame beats Clemson again, or Ohio State loses, this is going to be insane. And this Florida loss just cemented that this has the possibility to be insane. But Florida's eliminated. Iowa State and Cincinnati now have not a clear shot. They still don't control their own destiny. But if one thing happens, then Iowa State, Cincinnati, and Texas A&M will all 3 be in the running. It'll be really interesting because Texas A&M is ranked higher. But if Cincinnati, and I don't feel like Cincinnati has a shot unless Oklahoma wins, but then, yeah, I feel like Oklahoma would probably have to win for Cincinnati to have a shot. And how can you say that a 9-0 Cincinnati's not better than a 9-2 Iowa State? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, guys, last 2 minutes, you guys probably already know what happened. CFP rankings have came out. There'll be pretty much 2 videos on them. I'm sorry, this video came out so late, but I spent legit 6 hours editing this. It took me 6 hours to edit this, so if you could subscribe, that would mean so much, because this took up 6 hours. It took like 2-3 days, 6 hours. There will be, I'm going to try and upload like once the next like 3 days. Like once every day. There's going to be a Giannis video. There's potentially even today. If I could just edit, like, I won't just go crazy editing, but if it can take less than like 4 hours, then I'll be able to. But Giannis video, a Cincinnati video on just the disrespect they're getting, and then an just group of 5 video and how they will never make it. But I'm going to be pretty much, there's going to be a few videos coming out soon. So yeah, but sorry, awkward cut. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like the content, because I'm sorry for asking for subs, but this literally took me 6 hours. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe and peace.